My wife invited her ex to our housewarming party and gave me an ultimatum. Be mature or we're done. So I shook his hand, looked him in the eye, and said 5 words that ended my 19-year marriage right there. My name is Wade Cooper. I'm 47 years old, master electrician and owner of Cooper Electric Services in Phoenix, Arizona. For 19 years, I've been running wire through commercial buildings and residential developments across the valley. Conduit systems that last decades, junction boxes that never fail, electrical panels that could power a small city. I know the difference between 14-gauge and 12-gauge wire by touch alone. I can spot a code violation from 50 feet away. I thought I'd built the same kind of reliable system at home with Sierra. We got married young, me at 28, her at 26. Met at a barbecue thrown by her roommate, who was dating one of my crew guys. Sierra was working reception at a small accounting firm then, saving up for community college, smart, ambitious, with this laugh that could light up a room brighter than a 1,000-watt fixture. I was already 3 years into building my electrical contracting business, working 16-hour days to establish a client base in a city where every third guy claimed to be an electrician. 3 kids came along over the years, Brady 17 years ago, when I was 30, and finally feeling stable enough to support a family. Sierra had finished her associate's degree and moved into bookkeeping. Then Chloe 10 years back, during our strongest financial period. I'd just landed the electrical contract for 3 shopping centers in Scottsdale. Drew arrived 4 years ago, a surprise that came when I thought we were done having babies. Big gaps between them, but we made it work. Kids are expensive, and especially when you're building a business from scratch. Every dollar I earned in those early years went back into equipment, insurance, bonding, the endless bureaucracy of running a legitimate contracting operation. I bought my first bucket truck used, fixed it myself in the garage while Sierra kept the books balanced on our kitchen table. Sierra climbed up over the years too, from receptionist to bookkeeper to office manager at Scottsdale Dental Associates. Part-time work that let her be home when the kids got out of school, but steady income with good benefits. The dental practice was high-end, serving the wealthy Scottsdale crowd. Implants, cosmetic work, the kind of procedures that cost more than most people's cars. Power couple in our neighborhood, people said, the electrician who owned his own company and the pretty wife who managed a medical practice. We had matching Ford pickups in the driveway. Mine, a work truck loaded with tools and wire spools, hers pristine and clean for her office job. Weekend barbecues where I'd grill burgers, while Sierra mixed drinks and charmed the neighbors with stories from the dental office. I specialized in commercial work, office buildings, retail spaces, industrial facilities, the kind of jobs that required serious expertise and brought in serious money. Installing 3-phase electrical systems for manufacturing plants, running fiber optic cables through high-rise buildings, upgrading old panel boxes to meet modern code requirements. I had 4 guys working for me steady, plus subcontractors I'd bring in for the bigger jobs. The work was good, honest, necessary. Every building in Phoenix needed electricity, and not every electrician could handle the complex commercial installations. I took pride in doing things right the first time. Clean wire runs, properly labeled panels, everything up to code and then some. My reputation spread through word of mouth among general contractors and property developers. 2 years ago, I bought us a house. 4-bedroom ranch in a quiet Tempe suburb. Single story with a 3-car garage and enough yard space for the kids to play. $380,000 paid cash from years of commercial contracts and careful saving. I put the deed solely in my name. Sierra said we'd transfer it to joint ownership once we got completely moved in and settled. The old house sold quickly in Phoenix's hot market, and we made a decent profit on top of what we'd already put into the new place. Sierra was excited about decorating, picking out furniture, making it our forever home. She spent weeks planning the layout, measuring rooms, browsing furniture stores in her spare time. Moving with 3 kids and a business to run was chaos. Boxes everywhere, tools scattered between the garage and my work truck. Sierra stressed about getting everything organized while still working her shifts at the dental office. Brady helped when he wasn't at school or working his part-time job at a pizza place. Chloe pitched in with packing her own room and keeping Drew entertained. Drew, at 4 years old, mostly got in the way, but with enthusiasm. Last month, we finally finished unpacking the last boxes and truly settled in. The house felt like home. Family pictures on the walls, Drew's toys scattered in the living room, my tool organization system finally perfect in the garage. Sierra had done an amazing job with the decorating, turning our new house into something that looked like it belonged in a magazine. That's when Sierra announced she wanted to throw a housewarming party. Big celebration, invite everyone who mattered in our lives. Co-workers, neighbors, family friends. Show off our new place. Officially christen it as the Cooper family headquarters. I thought it sounded great. After 19 years of marriage and all the work we'd put into building our life together, we deserved to celebrate. I had no idea she was planning to use our celebration to introduce me to the man who would destroy everything we'd built. The conversation that changed everything happened on a Tuesday evening in October. I was in the garage organizing my tool chest when Sierra walked in holding her phone and a glass of wine. Tuesday night, around 8:30, after the kids had finished homework and settled into their evening routines. I was sorting through my wire strippers, Klein tools, Green Lee, some older ideal pieces I'd had since starting the business. Good tools are like good friends, reliable, long-lasting, worth taking care of. The garage was my sanctuary. 24 feet by 24 feet of organized efficiency. Tool chest along the back wall, pegboard holding my hand tools, wire spools stacked in perfect rows. Shelving units held electrical components sorted by type and size. Outlets, switches, junction boxes, circuit breakers. Everything in its place, everything clean and accessible. You can tell a lot about an electrician by his garage. Sierra had that look, the one where she's already decided something and is just informing me about it. 19 years of marriage teaches you to read those expressions like reading a wiring diagram. I've been thinking about the guest list for the housewarming, she said, leaning against my workbench. Her wine glass left a ring on the wood surface, but I didn't say anything. Pick your battles. I set down the wire strippers I was examining. Okay, who are you thinking? The usual crowd, people from work, some neighbors. She paused, swirling her wine. Your crew from the Henderson job. Maybe some of the contractors you work with regularly. The Henderson job was a strip mall renovation I'd finished last month. 3 weeks of running new electrical through an old building, upgrading everything to modern standards. My guys had done good work. Clean installations, no callbacks, customer paid promptly. The kind of job that builds reputation and relationships. That sounds good, I said. What about your side? Anyone from the dental office? Sierra took a sip, not meeting my eyes. Actually, that's what I wanted to talk about. I invited Mason. The name hit like touching a live wire. Mason Brooks, her ex-boyfriend from community college. The guy she called controlling and immature when we first started dating. The one who used to call her at all hours, who couldn't accept that their relationship was over, who'd made our early courtship complicated with his jealousy and manipulation. Mason? Your ex, Mason? I kept my voice level, professional. Same tone I used when explaining electrical problems to difficult customers. Yes. Another sip, still avoiding eye contact. He reached out a few months ago. We've been talking. Turns out he works at the practice now. New administrator, transferred in from Flagstaff last quarter. My hands went still on the toolbox. He works at Scottsdale Dental? Since when? Since March. Now she looked at me, defiant. I didn't mention it because I knew you'd overreact. March, 6 months, she'd been working. Alongside her ex-boyfriend for 6 months, without telling me. 6 months of daily interaction, shared coffee breaks, office conversations, the gradual rebuilding of intimacy that happens when you spend 40 hours a week with someone. Overreact, I said slowly, the way I'd explain a complex electrical concept to an apprentice. You've been talking to your ex for months. He works where you work, and you didn't think to mention it? Sierra's expression hardened, the transformation instant. Gone was the woman who'd laughed at my jokes over dinner 2 hours ago, replaced by someone cold and calculating. It was like watching a switch flip. See, this is exactly what I mean. We're adults, Wade. Mason and I are friends now. That's it. Professional colleagues who happen to have history. I'm not letting your insecurity ruin our housewarming. The word stung more than I expected. Insecurity. Like my concerns were some character flaw, some weakness in my personality rather than a rational response to my wife secretly reconnecting with an ex-lover. Sierra, this isn't about insecurity. It's about respect. You're inviting your ex to our home without discussing it first. She set the glass down with a sharp clink against my workbench, wine sloshing. I'm discussing it now, and I need you to be mature about this. Mason is coming to the party. If you can't handle that, then maybe we need to reconsider a lot of things. There it was. The ultimatum delivered with the same cold precision she used when dealing with difficult patients at the dental office. The implied threat hanging in the air like high-voltage electricity. Dangerous, impossible to ignore. I stared at her, my mind racing through possibilities. Part of me wanted to say absolutely not, to put my foot down and assert some kind of authority in my own house. But another part, the part that had spent 19 years keeping the peace and avoiding confrontation, hesitated. In electrical work, you learn that the most dangerous situations happen when you rush decisions, touch the wrong wire without thinking it through, and you end up flat on your back, wondering what hit you. Sometimes the smart play is to step back, assess the situation, make sure you understand all the circuits before you start working. Fine, I heard myself say. He can come. Sierra's shoulders relaxed instantly, tension flowing out of her like current finding ground. Thank you. I knew you'd understand once you thought about it rationally. She picked up her wine glass and walked back toward the house, leaving me alone with my tools and a sick feeling in my gut that had nothing to do with the leftover pizza we'd had for dinner. That night, lying in bed next to her, listening to her breathe in the darkness, I realized I'd just made the biggest mistake of my life. I'd crossed a line I couldn't uncross. I'd given permission for something I knew was wrong, but I didn't know yet just how wrong it was. The next morning, I told Sierra I needed to run some errands, check on a job site, pick up materials at the electrical supply house. Standard Wednesday morning routine that wouldn't raise any questions. She barely looked up from her laptop, already deep in appointment schedules and insurance forms for the dental practice. Brady had left for school, backpack slung over his shoulder, mumbling something about a chemistry test. Chloe was at soccer practice. Fall season, Tuesday and Thursday evenings, Saturday morning games. Drew was at daycare, probably finger painting or playing with blocks, blissfully unaware of the adult complications swirling around him. The house was quiet. Too quiet. That particular silence that settles over a place when everyone's gone and you're alone with your thoughts. I grabbed my keys, climbed into my work truck, and drove across Phoenix to a storage facility on the east side of town. Unit 147 at Desert Storage Solutions. I'd rented it 3 years ago when I started preparing for the possibility that my marriage might fail. Sounds paranoid, maybe even cruel, but 19 years running electrical systems teaches you one fundamental principle. Always have backup circuits. Always prepare for system failure. Every building I wire has redundant systems, emergency lighting, backup generators, alternate power sources. When the main system fails, and it always fails eventually, you need something to keep the lights on. Marriage, I'd learned, was no different. Hope for the best, prepare for the worst. The storage facility looked like every other in Phoenix. Beige concrete buildings stretching in neat rows, designed for functionality rather than beauty. Unit 147 was climate-controlled, 12 feet by 8 feet, accessed by a rolling metal door that squeaked when I lifted it. Inside, the air smelled like cardboard and that particular staleness of enclosed spaces. 3 file boxes sat on metal shelving, each labeled with innocuous names, tax records 2020, business documents, personal files. Any casual observer would assume they contained exactly what the labels claimed. They'd be wrong. I pulled down the first box, tax records, and opened it on the concrete floor. The house deed sat on top, original copy with my signature and the notary seal. Sole ownership, no co-signers, no joint tenancy. I'd told Sierra we'd transfer it to joint ownership once we got settled, but I'd never filed the paperwork. The house was mine, fully paid, no mortgage, no claim she could make on it. Beneath the deed were business formation documents. 2 years ago, Sierra had pitched an idea for a side venture, a bookkeeping service helping small contractors manage their finances. She'd handle the client relations and administrative work. I'd provide the technical knowledge about electrical contracting and construction. Sounded reasonable, even smart. We'd set it up as a limited liability company, Cooper Financial Services. What Sierra didn't know was that I had structured it very carefully with Lance Palmer's help. The operating agreement listed me as the sole member with complete authority over all business decisions. She had access to the business checking account and handled day-to-day operations. But I controlled the entity itself. Every contract, every client relationship, every business asset belonged legally to me. The second box, business documents, contained bank statements that told a story Sierra had never seen. Our joint checking account showed the normal flow of family finances, mortgage payments, groceries, utilities, car payments, kids' activities. But there was another account, one I'd opened 5 years ago at a different credit union across town. Every bonus check, every large commercial job payment, every consulting fee had gone into that separate account. Sierra never asked about the money because she assumed it all went into our joint account. She was wrong. That account now held $185,000, nearly 20 years of careful financial planning hidden in plain sight. The third box contained what made my stomach turn, a manila envelope marked March-October in my handwriting. Inside were printouts and screenshots from Sierra's laptop, the one that automatically synced to our shared iCloud account. She'd gotten sloppy about privacy 6 months ago, stopped logging out completely, left her messages accessible to anyone who knew where to look. Text messages between her and Mason Brooks, hundreds of them, starting casual and professional in March, gradually becoming more personal, more intimate. Nothing explicitly sexual. Sierra was too smart for that. But the emotional affair was clear as daylight to anyone who understood the progression of workplace attraction. Lunch invitations that stretched into 3-hour afternoon disappearances. Inside jokes about patience and office politics. Late-night conversations that had nothing to do with dental practice administration. The digital breadcrumbs of a relationship rebuilding itself in secret. One message from August made my hands shake. Can't wait for the housewarming party. Finally get to see you outside the office without raising suspicions. Her reply, I know, just have to keep Wade calm about it. He'll come around once he meets you properly. I sat back against the concrete wall, reading through months of deception. They'd been planning this confrontation for months. The housewarming party wasn't just a celebration. It was theater, a performance designed to normalize Mason's presence in our lives, to make me look like the unreasonable one if I objected to their friendship. The final document was a letter I'd written 3 weeks earlier, sealed in an envelope marked "If I leave" in my careful handwriting. Inside was a single page that would serve as my explanation and my goodbye. I sealed everything back up, locked the storage unit, and drove directly to Lance Palmer's law office on Central Avenue. Lance had handled my business incorporation and various contracts over the years. Solid reputation, discreet, understood the construction industry. Most importantly, he didn't ask unnecessary questions when clients needed sensitive work done quickly. Wade, he said, rising from behind his desk to shake my hand. Good to see you. What brings you in today? I set a manila folder on his polished mahogany desk. I need you to prepare divorce papers. Everything you'll need is in there. Assets, accounts, documentation. I want them ready to file, but don't file yet. I'll tell you when. Lance opened the folder and began scanning the contents. Bank statements, property deeds, business formation documents, screenshots of text messages. His eyebrows rose as he worked through the evidence I'd compiled. Jesus, Wade, you've been planning this for a while. Just being prepared, I said. Like installing surge protectors. You hope. You never need them, but when lightning strikes, you're glad they're there. He continued reading, occasionally making notes on a legal pad. This is very thorough. The asset documentation is particularly solid. He looked up. Can you have everything ready by next Friday? Absolutely, but I have to ask, are you sure about this? 19 years of marriage, 3 kids, that's a lot to walk away from. I thought about Sierra's face in the garage last night. The cold dismissal, the calculated ultimatum, the complete lack of respect for what we'd built together. I'm not walking away from my kids. I'm walking away from someone who's already checked out of our marriage. Lance closed the folder. I'll have the papers ready by Friday afternoon. Full custody request. Primary custody. She can have supervised visitation until we establish that her boyfriend isn't going to be a factor in the children's lives. The asset division is going to be straightforward given your documentation, house in your name, business in your name, the separate account she doesn't know about. He paused. Wade, this could get ugly. Are you prepared for that? It's already ugly. I'm just bringing it into the open. That evening, I came home to find Sierra in the kitchen, animated and excited about party planning. She had Pinterest boards pulled up on her tablet, showing me centerpiece ideas and color schemes. For a moment, watching her enthusiasm, I almost felt guilty about what I was setting in motion. Almost. She showed me photos of elaborate table settings, asked my opinion on whether we should rent additional chairs or just use what we had. I nodded, agreed, played the role of supportive husband, while mentally calculating how many more days I'd have to maintain this performance. Friday evening, 3 days before the party, I was in the garage working on a residential estimate when Brady appeared in the doorway. My 17-year-old son stood there with red-rimmed eyes and his arms wrapped around himself like he was trying to hold something together. Dad, can we talk? His voice had that shaky quality that meant whatever was coming was serious. I set down my calculator and estimate sheets. Of course. What's wrong? He stepped inside the garage and closed the door behind him. For a moment, he just stood there, struggling with something internal. Then his composure broke completely. Not dramatic teenage crying. This was deeper, rawer, the kind of pain that comes from carrying a secret too heavy for your shoulders. I pulled him into a hug and let him get it out. The way I had when he was smaller, and scraped knees or failed tests seemed like the end of the world. Whatever it is, I said quietly, we'll figure it out together. Brady pulled back, wiping his face with his sleeve. I should have told you months ago, Dad. I'm so sorry. My stomach dropped. Told me what? He took a shaky breath, gathering courage. Back in May, I was at Paradise Valley Mall with some friends. We went to the Starbucks near the food court, and I saw Mom there. She was sitting with a man, not you. I kept my voice steady, the same tone I used when teaching him electrical safety. What were they doing? Sitting really close, laughing a lot. He had his hand on her arm, and then Brady's voice broke again. He leaned over and kissed her. On the lips. Not long, but it wasn't some friendly thing, Dad. It was wrong. The garage felt smaller suddenly, the walls closing in. Did she see you? Yeah. She came over after he left, told me it was complicated, that I was too young to understand adult friendships. Brady looked at me with eyes that had aged months in minutes. She said you'd overreact if you knew, that it would destroy our family. Made me promise not to tell you. My son had been carrying this burden for 6 months. 6 months of watching his mother lie to his father, of being forced to participate in the deception, the weight of adult secrets crushing a kid who should have been worrying about homework and college applications. And I kept that promise, he whispered, while it ate me alive every single day. I pulled him close again, feeling the tremor in his shoulders. This isn't your fault, none of it. But I should have told you, he said into my shirt. I knew it was wrong. I knew Mom was lying, but I was scared. Scared you'd get divorced, scared Chloe and Drew would blame me for breaking up the family. Brady, look at me. I waited until he met my eyes. You were put in an impossible position. Your mother manipulated you, made you her accomplice. That's on her, not you. He studied my face, reading something there. You already knew, didn't you? I nodded slowly. I suspected. You just confirmed it. The guy from the mall, is it Mason? The one she invited to the party? Yeah. Brady's expression hardened with anger I'd rarely seen from him. She invited him here, to our house? That's disgusting. Saturday morning, party day. I woke up to Sierra already moving through the house like a tornado, checking lists and giving orders about ice, napkins, and the positioning of furniture. The house buzzed with nervous energy. Her nervous energy, not mine. I made coffee and stayed out of her way, watching her performance with the detachment of someone who already knew how the story ended. Brady came downstairs early, gave me a knowing look, and announced he was taking Chloe and Drew out for breakfast. Smart kid, getting his siblings away from the pre-party chaos. He understood what was coming better than anyone. Around noon, Sierra cornered me in the kitchen. She looked stressed, perfect hair slightly disheveled, still in her robe, wine glass already in hand despite the early hour. Wade, I need you to promise me something. Her voice carried that edge again, the sharpness that meant she was working hard. To maintain control, I set down my coffee. What's that? Tonight, when Mason gets here, I need you to be mature about this. No weird tension, no passive-aggressive comments, no making him feel unwelcome. Just be normal. The irony was almost beautiful. She was lecturing me about maturity while planning to parade her affair partner through our living room in front of our friends and neighbors. Define normal, I said evenly. You know what I mean. Act like an adult. Be welcoming. Show everyone that we're secure enough in our marriage that old relationships don't threaten us. And if I can't do that, I asked, genuinely curious about her answer. Sierra's expression hardened into something I barely recognized. Then maybe we need to have a serious conversation about our future, because I'm not going to live with someone who's so insecure he can't handle me having male friends. There it was. The ultimatum delivered 12 hours before she'd regret ever opening her mouth. I stepped closer, keeping my voice calm and professional. Let me make sure I understand this correctly. You want me to welcome your ex-boyfriend, the one you've been secretly meeting with for months, into the house I bought and paid for. And if I don't play along with that charade, you're threatening our marriage. She blinked, caught off guard by my directness. I haven't been secretly meeting anyone. We work together. We've had lunch a few times. That's what professional colleagues do. Professional colleagues, I nodded slowly. Is that what we're calling it? I could have ended it right there. Could have pulled out the phone, shown her the screenshots, watched her face crumble as the lies collapsed, but I held back. The party was in 6 hours. Let her have her performance. That afternoon, guests started arriving around 5. The house filled quickly. Co-workers from the dental practice, neighbors from our street, some of Sierra's college, friends, a few guys from my electrical crew. She worked the room like a politician, laughing and hugging people, playing the perfect hostess while I stayed near the kitchen nursing a beer. Brady kept Chloe and Drew occupied in the backyard, away from the adult conversations. My son caught my eye once across the crowd and mouthed, "When?" I held up 6 fingers. 6:30? Mason's scheduled arrival time, according to the text I'd seen on Sierra's phone. At 6:20, Sierra found me and whispered urgently, "He just texted, 5 minutes away." "Okay," I said simply. She studied my face suspiciously. "You're really okay with this?" I met her eyes with complete honesty. "Sierra, I promised you I'd be mature tonight. Have I ever broken a promise to you?" That seemed to satisfy her. She actually smiled, relieved, and squeezed my arm. "Thank you. This means more to me than you know." More than I knew. That was certainly true. The doorbell rang at 6:28. Sierra practically ran to answer it, her excitement palpable and disgusting. I set down my beer and positioned myself where I could see everything clearly. Mason Brooks walked in, wearing designer jeans and a fitted shirt that probably cost more than my work boots. Tall, confident, soft hands that had never held anything heavier than a computer mouse. He hugged Sierra too long, too familiarly, and said something that made her laugh with genuine joy. Then Sierra turned, spotted me across the room, and waved me over with theatrical enthusiasm. "Mason, this is my husband, Wade." Mason extended his hand with a smile that was all practiced charm and zero sincerity. "Wade, finally. Sierra's told me so much about you. This house is incredible, man. You've got great taste." I looked at his manicured hand, looked at Sierra's expectant face, flushed with wine and anticipation, looked at the dozen people nearby, watching this introduction with curious interest. Then I shook his hand firmly and leaned in close enough that only he could hear. "I'll never be mature about this," I said quietly. "And she's all yours now." I released his hand and stepped back, raising my voice so everyone in the room could hear clearly. "Excuse me, everyone. I'm leaving." The rest happened exactly as I'd planned it for months. Sierra's panic, Mason's confusion, the shocked silence of our guests as I methodically destroyed her carefully constructed lies. The divorce papers, the screenshots, the revelation that everything she thought we'd built together belonged solely to me. 3 months later, it was over. Primary custody, the house, the business, everything. Sierra got her personal belongings and $8,000 from our joint checking account. Now, a year after that party, I'm sitting in my garage, the same garage where Sierra delivered her ultimatum, watching Brady work on his college application essays, He's been accepted to Arizona State for electrical engineering, following in the family trade, but with a 4-year degree I never had. Sometimes people ask if I regret how I handled it, if I should have tried counseling, given her a second chance, found a less dramatic way to end things. The answer is simple. Respect isn't negotiable, and dignity isn't a luxury you can afford to lose. When someone shows you who they really are, believe them the first time. And when they force you to choose between your self-respect and their comfort, choose yourself every single time. The people who truly love you will understand why you had to walk away, even at your own party, especially at your own party.